So we have to talk about Byron Donalds, who absolutely schools this CNN anchor when it comes to speaking about President Trump's economic agenda. Because I think one thing, especially last year when Sleepy Joe Biden was in office last year, I think a lot of things that we heard, especially when it came to the economy, was that everything was fine, right? Everybody's doing okay. There's no recession. Everybody's doing well. Like anybody struggling financially, that's just people just not managing their money properly. And we always heard that. We never heard about anything about a recession. And there were a lot of people that made the argument that we were in a recession. And some people still make the argument that we're in a recession now. But we understand how it comes to the media where, I think was it back in 2002, they changed the definition of what a recession was. So we really don't know what's a recession anymore. It's basically whenever the media starts to talk about a recession. And it's funny now because now that President Trump is in the office now you're hearing more talk about recession. You got Jasmine Crockett talking about, oh, we're headed for a recession right now. Like people are struggling, like things are not going well. And you're hearing more people talk about the recession talk and how that, the economy is struggling right now. But when Joe Biden was in office, no, you never heard this, right? And it's just funny that now that Trump is in office, you're hearing more about this talk of a recession. And so Byron Donalds is talking about when he's discussing Trump's economic agenda, he's saying it's going to take time. So you got to give President Trump some time in order to make sure you clean up this mess. And he speaks to that.
Well, look, I'm going to repeat myself a little bit here.
Okay.
It is important that we stabilize not just our economic relationships around the globe, but also the fact that we got to secure our border and we got to stop the flow of fentanyl. Give Donald Trump the opportunity to actually negotiate with the Mexican president and with Canada and with China. You got to give him that opportunity. Because when prices were rising in the United States, I didn't hear CNN talking about that much. As a matter of fact, you ignored most of it while it was hurting the American people. So let the president negotiate on tariff policy. That is what he's doing, and it's going to work out to the better. You didn't cover it the way it needed to be covered. Let's just be perfectly honest.
Okay, well, that's a matter of opinion.
You let the last administration get away with it, but the American people suffered as a result. No, it's not my opinion. That's a fact.
Okay, no, it's not a fact. Congressman Byron Donalds, thank you for coming on to share your points of view. We appreciate your time.
And see, he's absolutely right, because let's be real. Before Biden had that disastrous debate, you heard nothing but great things about Biden, right? Everything was going good. Everything is fine. They had nothing bad to say. However, once they made the decision to get him up out of office, and after that debate, then you started hearing more negative things talked about Joe Biden. You started hearing, they questioning, things were happening with the economy. They were questioning all certain type of things. You heard all these negative stories about Joe Biden, and that's only when they decided to get him out. But when he talks about you didn't cover him the way that needed to be covered, he's absolutely right. And when it comes to President Trump, you have to give him time. Okay, like it didn't take it. This economy that we're dealing with right now didn't happen overnight. Okay, it took 4 years of bad policies from Joe Biden to make sure to put us in the situation now. So it's going to take us a little bit longer in order to clean this up. So you got to give President Trump time, and he's putting the things in place in order to do that. Especially when it comes to tariffs, when it comes to taxes, he has a plan in place. And this is just like anyone with that's not managing their finances properly. Right? Like any family that that when it comes to poor finances, what you have to do is that you have to look at your finances, right? You look at your income and you look at your expenses. And if you're spending more than you make, then you have to make sure you manage that. So what like any normal person would do or normal family would do is like, all right, what income is coming in? All right, this is what our income is. All right, so we're spending more than we make. You know what we have to do? We have to reduce expenses, right? We have to cut our expenses down. Whatever we can, we have to cut the expenses. So when we cut the expenses, and if we cut it down to as much as we can, then we have to ask the question, all right, do we need more income? So what do? You got to start, you have to start thinking about, do I need a second or third job so I can create more income, so I can create more of a gap, and then so I can pay down the expenses. And this is what Trump is doing, especially when it comes to the tariffs, right? He's implementing these tariffs because you want to make sure that countries are paying, are funding the government instead of the American people. And of course, we're going to have to go through a little pain, right? This is normal stuff that we understand that we might have to deal with a little pain when it comes to higher prices, but Trump has a plan. You have to give us some time for all this to plan out. It doesn't have like slow prices, stable prices doesn't happen overnight. These are things that have to be implemented over time. And this is, and when you're talking about Trump's like economic agenda, his goal is to like, if he can get the tariffs to a point where he's driving revenue, right? He's driving revenue from taxing other countries, then he can start thinking about stuff like, removing taxes on tips, taxing on overtime, taxing on Social Security, and if we're blessed, taxes on federal income. But in order to do that, he has to make sure he has our finances in order. And this is why he's doing things like these gold visa program where he can generate revenue that way so he can pay down the debt, right? And then make sure that he could get rid of, he can clear up that $2 trillion deficit that we have. If he can do all these things, right, by generating enough revenue and cutting expenses, especially when it comes to Doge, then he can get to a point where he can implement his tax strategy where he can put more money into the pockets of the American people, because that's his ultimate goal. He wants to make sure that the people have more money in their pocket. So if prices do increase because of tariffs, that at least the American people can decide what they want to do with their money. But all of this takes time. And you got to give more than a month or two in order for this to be implemented, right? People are talking about, you hear a lot of people say, Trump said on day one he's gonna bring prices down. Anybody with a brain cell understands that it's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. Okay. And you have to give him some time, because, it didn't take 6 months for this stuff to happen where the economy is right now. Right. Like it took 4 years of bad policy. So you got to give Trump some time in order to make sure he is implementing his economic agenda, because that's what it's going to take. Like anybody that's really studying and seeing what's going on when it comes to the tariffs, the taxes, like we see what he's trying to do. Right, especially with the tariffs, he's trying to generate the income. He's trying to generate the revenue with that gold visa program. If he can generate enough revenue so he can pay down the debt, and then you can clean up that deficit, that's going to put us in a better financial standing. Because I think we can all agree that the United States, when it comes to their finances, we're not in a healthy place right now. We're really not. Right, $36 trillion of debt, a $2 trillion deficit. That is not healthy. All right, we cannot sustain this. Elon Musk talked about, especially with Doge, the way they're trying to clean things up, trying to save us money, right? You can see the people on the left, they don't really believe in it. It's almost like do you not want to save money? Do you not want to see the United States in a better situation financially, fiscally? And we have to make sure we get our finances in order, because this is not long term. This is not healthy for the country. Right. And Trump says hopefully by next year he wants to see if he can, reduce that deficit. Right. He wants to balance the budget. Right. And that's something I think we can all agree, hope happens, because that's good for America. It's good for all of us. We need to balance that budget. We can't continue spending the money the way we do right now. So if we can find a way to generate revenue, cut spending, and balance that budget, overall, you'll see you'll see the United States in a better situation financially. It's going to be good for everyone, whether you're a Democrat or Republican. It's going to be good for all of us. Right. And that's the point. That's where we want to be financially. So I think Byron Donalds did a great job explaining that. And these CNN anchors, they know they're full of it when it comes to the way they were reporting Joe Biden. Right. They never talked about how bad, people were struggling when it comes to their finances. We were not in good financial. There's no way you can say we have $36 trillion of debt, $2 trillion deficit, and say that we're good financially. That's just not. It's just not the way. There's no way that's possible. So, but yeah, those are my thoughts. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Make sure you leave a comment down below, hit the like button, share. And if you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe. All right, so guys, take care. Have a good one. Later.